I am super excited about today's video because I'll be having a conversation with one of my own students who's currently on the FBA Mentor program. But there are a few things that are slightly different with this student to all of the others. First, he has his own YouTube channel, and therefore I'll make sure to leave a link in the bio. Please share the love and subscribe. Secondly, he already has a lot of experience selling on Amazon, making over 6 figures in sales. Third, the reason why he joined up the program is because he wants to move away from online and retail arbitrage and wholesale to move more into private label, where the real money is at. I want to ask him a few quick questions around wholesale and why he decided to make that move now. And last but most important, he is now doing Amazon FBA full time, something that a lot of you would want to do too. I want to know exactly how did that move come about. What's up, you guys? It's Ben and welcome back to my channel where we talk about everything there is related to selling on Amazon. Therefore, if you're interested in that sort of stuff and want to learn a little bit more, consider subscribing. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. Wonderful. All right, so first of all, thank you so much for coming, Nicholas. I really appreciate you taking your time out to do this, especially given the fact that you have been selling on Amazon for quite some time. And I think having the conversation today is actually going to be useful for a lot of new sellers who are potentially thinking about wholesale, potentially thinking about private label, which one to go for, and kind of having the fact now that you went from one to the other, I think it's actually really useful. So first things first, quick introduction. What is Nicholas about? So, shout out your YouTube channel, etc.
I know, right? I need to start it out. So my channel's called Part-Time Thrifter, and the reason why it's called Part-Time Thrifter is literally because I did start doing this part-time. That's the biggest thing. I was a math teacher for 10 years before I actually took the plunge. And I got a degree in economics, and then I tried doing a 9-to-5 job. That wasn't for me, so I thought I'd get into teaching, which was a 9-to-8 job. That's a different story. And then that's how it started. It started part-time, and then I just literally had a look. I posted my first YouTube video 18th of January 2020. That's the first time I posted a YouTube video, and I actually had the pleasure of going back and looking at it today, and it was quite depressing to see the quality of it. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. It's nice to see improvement. It shows obviously that you get better on camera over time, and it's just with everything, with Amazon, with YouTube, and everything over time, with experience, you do tend to get better. I mean, I hate, from my personal experience, like looking at my very first few videos is like, Jesus Christ, what were you even thinking posting that? But I think with time and time, you get better effectively. So, all right. So first things first, let's go into the numbers. Like I said, I didn't.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, isn't it? When it comes to Amazon and when it comes to running a business, it is the numbers.
Absolutely,
that's the biggest thing. So I've written everything down for us. The first year I did 28.7k revenue. The first year of actually trying Amazon.
Is that from Jan to December?
That would have been So Jan to January. So January to January. Yeah.
Okay.
So. Because I started doing it in September 19. I started. That was the first time I started, September 19, and it was literally selling. It's probably the only DVD I've been able to sell, something I found a charity shop. Ever since then, I've been gated on selling DVDs. But that was actually my first sale. It was take that DVD that I found a charity shop, and I actually sold on Amazon. That was my first thing I ever sold on Amazon. And the first year, I'll be honest with you, up all the way up to January, so September to January, it was just secondhand goods. And I think this is the reason as to why, when selling on Amazon, I've not really been queried in regards to prove any authenticities, because my account started very slowly. It didn't just go from overnight selling 1,000. Literally, I was selling 20 quid, 30 quid a day, something like that. Okay. So I have never been requested, and this is something that pops up quite a lot of times, because I do retail arbitrage and I do online arbitrage. And it pops up quite a lot of people. Have you not queried from Amazon to provide invoices for your products? And it's very rarely happen. Of course, there's copy mechanisms to defend with that. So I'm going off on a tangent. First year we got 28.7 the first year. Second year we did revenue of 95,000, and that was 21,000 profit.
Nice.
And unfortunately, that triggered the VAT registration. For us. So I've started it completely basic. I started as a self-employed person, switched it to a limited company, went all the way to the 85, and then gone VAT registered. So year 3 at the moment in time, this is year 3. And from January till now, we're currently at 113,000 with about 28,000 profit. And this is me learning. Yeah, it's still, I've only done 2 VAT registrations. Yeah, this is me still learning to actually source and do my materials, everything, but taking VAT into account for us. But I mean, there's definitely progress. You can see it there with the numbers. Okay, 28.95. I think I'll probably get 150 this year. Because obviously we've not hit the December time, and my niece's toys, for anyone watching my channel, that's what I sell. So I am fully expected to do 25, 30, maybe even 40 this year. Because I'll be honest with you, I did 26 last December and I didn't know what I was doing. I'll be honest with you, I was still going into the stores constantly and thinking like, I'm going to be buying that. I'm spending hours in store when I've been doing a lot of it online at the moment in time, really.
Okay, and this kind of question I didn't put down, but I'm very curious to know because it just popped into my head. Given the fact that, like you said yourself, you moved into teaching, you went from not 9 to 6, but 9 to 8, and you're doing wholesale and online arbitrage at the same time. How on earth did you manage the time? Because a lot of my students are like, I've got a full-time job. I don't know if I can make it, but you clearly have. How did that work?
Obviously, I started doing it before having a kid. That's the biggest one. I think that's, to be honest, that's the biggest one really for us making that decision. But then again, I only made a decision to go full-time after having a kid too. So how did I do it? I think I was very, very good at managing my time. It sounds horrible, but I stopped playing on the PlayStation. I stopped spending the 2-3 hours playing on the Xbox. Like, I have got a PS5 and I've logged it 3 or 4 times maybe in a year's time. You know what I mean? That's gone out the window. Okay, you've got to start making sacrifices. I'm not the kind of guy that likes going out at night time. I will go out once a month, say, for example, okay, but I'm not the kind of guy that gets to the Friday and like, let's get hammered. Yeah, I'm not that kind of person. Let's get hammered on a Friday. It's just like, so it was sacrifices, okay, it was sacrifices. I'm very, very lucky that I've got quite a big garage, I would say, where I live, and therefore I've used that basically as the operation, really, for it. So it's literally just going from one door to the other, and I really do enjoy it. That's the big thing for me. Amazon, it's not a job. I really do enjoy doing it. So I'm not clock watching whatsoever. When I was teaching, I was like thinking at 3:30, I'm thinking, oh, actually 15 minutes I could get home. But now I'm just like, I'm not bothered about the time. I'm not bothered. I'm not clock watching, and that's the biggest thing, really. So how did I manage? I don't know. Like, I guess I just wanted to do better. I knew that. Just to put perspective to everyone too, okay, so I was UPS 3, so really should take about 16 years to get to the salary that I was doing, but I was moving from place to place to place. So I was on a salary of 41,000, okay, that was the salary that I was on. It's not a bad salary, it's not a bad salary, but if your car breaks down, if when you have kids, okay, if something happens, okay, you've got that minimum, that amount of money. No matter how long I worked as a teacher, no matter how many books I marked, I was only getting that set of money. The only time you can get more as a teacher is by getting a TLR, which is an extra 2,500 only, depending, okay, to 2.5 to 5. And that means your weekend is gone, okay, and all you're getting is an extra 200 a month, because after tax, that's what it is. So
so there's a glass ceiling that no matter what you do is just, no matter how much more hours you put in, effectively nothing changes. Whereas with Amazon as FBA, a lot of things can change. That's very, very interesting. So what kind of, given the fact that, so I, for example, personally, all of my students know I started private label, I've been doing it, etc., right? I have dabbled with online arbitrage, especially helping out my family members and so on, but I don't have nowhere near as much of experience as you do. What is your, because I always tell people, hey, anyone that goes into online arbitrage wholesale, it is not a scalable business to, let's say, 6-7 figures over time. It may potentially be, but unlikely, right? What is your experience? Do you disagree? Do you agree? Like, having done it for quite some time now.
So I don't think it's sustainable. My experience at this moment in time, okay, so my experience is I need to be spending 25 to 30,000 a month to be making the 4, the 5, the 6,000. Okay, that's in order. If I want to do that model, okay, if you want to be getting a proper salary, you need to be spending 20, 25. Can you spend it? Yes, you can spend it. Okay, but you want to say to me that you're going to actually be staying and spending 25,000 yourself? No, you've got VAs. Okay, so a VA is not cheap. Okay, even though they're quite cheap labor, you ended up actually paying 400 quid a month. Okay, 400 quid a month. Really, are you going to pack all the items yourself? No. Yeah, you've got a prep center, so you've got other costs coming from there. So it's all well and nice and saying like, here's my numbers. Okay, I've done 50,000 this month, but it's a big difference, the amount of effort for online arbitrage and retail arbitrage compared to what you're doing. Okay, and even we've had one conversation together. Okay, we had the first initial meeting together, and then it just makes so much more sense to actually be trying the other one. When it comes to wholesaling, okay, and first of all, there's a lot of people that are saying like, hey guys, you could be making 10,000 a month just adding with wholesaling. A proper wholesaler is not going to talk to you unless you've got VAT registration. When you're 18, okay, how are you going to get your VAT registration? How are you going to do 85,000? You know what I mean? So this is something that a lot of people like, I hate seeing like, oh, I'm thinking of getting into wholesale. Well, first of all, you need your VAT registration. Second of all, you need your website, okay, because 100% the majority of wholesalers are not going to actually sell to you if you're selling on Amazon. Yeah, that's a big thing. So it's literally one of the things. Are you selling on Amazon? Well, there's your application out the window. If you're thinking, and you can see on TikTok's like, you should get to this wholesaler, you've got 5 different wholesalers. The point that you can actually make an account with a wholesaler after 2 minutes, it means it's accessible by everyone, and it means everyone is purchasing from those wholesalers. So that is not a wholesaler, that's just another website. And this is why I think, and also the margins are tiny. The margins of wholesale are tiny because there's so many people are getting it. And for me, online arbitrage, I mean, when it comes to profits, I would say retail arbitrage by far has been the most profitable, but it means that you've got a lot of time to actually be spending on it. You need to be going into the stores and actually scanning left, right, and center, and then you pack in the items too. Online arbitrage is very easy. You order it online, but again, you either pack in or you send it to the prep center. Wholesaling, it means you're putting quite a big cost really, because you need to be putting a minimum order too. We're talking 300, 500. If you're just starting Amazon, your first order is on those items. And then, so this is why I'm looking at something different, because wholesaling, I've done it. You get one really good pick, okay? So say, for example, I got very lucky now with these new Pokemon cards, okay? So I was able to buy them for 78 quid when retail is 120. And straight away, they've already sold out, okay, for me. But that is one thing, okay? One thing out of 3,000 quid worth of orders that I've purchased with that retailer. So it's not right. And this is why I really, and this is why I've picked your course, to be honest with you. This is why I like talking to you, because you were actually questioning that. It's not so many people that are just talking about numbers and just like clickbaity, but that's what it is just clickbait. And then they don't understand like how long it actually takes and how small the margins are.
Not one person on TikTok has ever said, hey, there's a drawback to wholesale, just a small one. You got to be VAT registered, otherwise they will throw your application out the window. Nobody ever says that. Nobody ever complains and, hey, how do you actually get on an account with these wholesalers, the reputable ones, the ones that you can actually make money from? I think you kind of did it the right way, i.e. start retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, get a VAT number, so then they can see some sort of business history and then potentially move into wholesale. But you're absolutely right, and this is why I started doing reaction type of TikToks, because a lot of people say, hey, you can learn Amazon FBA in 30 seconds, and I'm like, I'm still learning, and it's 4.5 years in.
Right, exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
We had a call on Monday, and I'm like, you said 2 or 3 things that you said, I'm thinking, I hadn't even questioned it, and it's just so simple. But that's the thing, you are supposed to be learning. That's what it is. If you want to be growing, you are supposed to be learning.
100%. So moving away from all of that negativity effectively and how hard wholesale is and how hard online arbitrage is, how does it feel now working for yourself? You know, you've been working, like you said yourself, as a teacher for God knows how long. You know, you have quit your job. You literally just started paying yourself, something that a lot of the students kind of really want. Some of them want to just supplement their income, whilst others want to replace it. You have now gone to the point of replacing it. How does that feel, having all of this free time and so on?
And I mean, my decision to go full time and actually quitting my job, the big one was like, obviously I've got my daughter. Yeah. Yes. So it was many times where just like, obviously the first year of my daughter, so you actually only get 2 weeks paternity. I chose to get an extra week unpaid for myself. And you're basically spending, as a teacher, you're spending more time with other people's kids than your kid. Okay. So it's very bleak. Sorry, I'm very bleak with it, but that's exactly what it was. So for me, the happiness that I've actually had since September going full time and knowing that, first of all, I no longer set an alarm. Yeah, I mean, I don't need it because I'm waking up at 6:30, 7 with the little one, but I no longer set an alarm. Okay, I spend so much more time. I can actually manage my time. I can decide when I'm working. I'm not clock watching anymore. Yeah, I'm not clock watching anymore. For us, I'm going to be paying myself for the first time after 3 years. So that's actually quite interesting too. And that's something that might need to be mentioned, by the fact that I've just been putting everything into the business constantly. And never taking out too. That's the big one too. Never taking anything out. And it's been a long time. So our teacher actually texted me, it's like, how are you feeling? Actually, are you missing it? And I says, I think last time I've been this happy has probably been my stag do in Germany. It's just like, it's just insane. It's just like the freedom that I've actually got, and the happiness is amazing. And also I'm making something, I'm creating something myself. And what you said earlier, there's no glass ceiling. There's no ceiling on it. So it's amazing.
See this sort of feeling that you have right now, and comparing that to what you were like as a teacher, in my personal opinion, this is exactly how I feel. I will do whatever it takes never to go back to it. I remember those hours of 6, 8, 10 hours each and every single day, and they get cheeky on the weekends. Hey, can you check this? Can you check that? Remembering that like still gives me goosebumps, and I'm like, I'll do whatever it takes never ever to get back, because just like yourself, I don't have an alarm clock. I set my own hours and so on and so forth. Doesn't mean that what we're doing is easy, and it is, sure it isn't, but working for yourself makes such a big difference. And I really wish for everybody watching to experience it for a week, for 2 weeks, and all of a sudden realize, oh, so it could be like this potentially. So, you know, something definitely to consider. I think if people felt it, they would be far more motivated to push through all of those hoops and obstacles that will come along your way when it comes to Amazon.
100% they will. 100% they will.
100%. Everybody gets it. Nobody's immune to them. Maybe Amazon themselves, but that's about it. What do you think of Amazon FBA as a business? A lot of people say, hey, you're too late. Hey, it's a scam. Hey, you can't make money. I mean, clearly we are living proof that you can. But what's your opinion in general?
I don't see a reason. I mean, first of all, I mean, let's just say it's changed my life. Okay, it's changed my life. So really, from that point of view, I would say yes. I mean, how can somebody say you're too late for Amazon FBA when everyone is actually ordering? Okay, it's so much more easier to actually order online. So many more people. There's so much more incentives to be ordering online. And so for people saying that FBA is not a legitimate business, it's actually quite insane. I mean, I've been able to actually change my life, and I mean, I'm very lucky. Okay, so part of what I do is I've got a Discord server and provide lead service, and we speak to them. It's like a community really every day, and you see the numbers of people are actually doing. You're thinking, how can someone be saying that you're too late to Amazon FBA? Well, what do you want to do? Do you want to do another year of doing exactly the same job, or do you want to try something else too? And even if you don't go and do it full time, which can easily be done full time, okay, there's no reason for you not to be trying to do something on the side. There's no reason for you not to be trying to do it on the side for us, really. But it's not a 30-second. It's not a 30-second decision.
it will take a little bit longer. From my experience, what I find is that a lot of people that because so what happens is whenever I put up a video and people say, "Hey, it's a scam," and so on and so forth, I will actually speak to these people, and then I realize that they have tried it, but they have gone completely the wrong way. They have thought of a product that nobody has ever sold before. They created something completely brand new without testing the market, spending $10,000-$15,000, and then realizing that, hey, what's currently on the market is just fine. Nobody's going to buy something that they've never seen before. And then all of a sudden, all of these comments of, hey, it's too saturated. Hey, you're too late. Hey, it's a scam. From their perspective, yeah, they're right, because they've tried and they failed. And it's clearly never their fault. It has to be Amazon's fault. So, this is why I don't like to show off, but I always show my sales pretty much on a monthly basis, is that, hey, we are in October of 2022 and we have made this much sales, this much profit. If I can do it, so can you. I mean, I'm no smarter than anybody else watching this video. I don't know how, you're a teacher, you clearly are, but it doesn't take,
no, I can tell you that.
It doesn't take.
Not for doing it for 10 years, mate. Not for doing it for 10 years. I should have done a lot of stuff a lot sooner.
But I just, well, what I'm trying to get at is that we're not special or anything in any sort of form. I think most people can do it. If you can read, write, have a laptop, have internet connection and some discipline, I think you can do it. So the answer to that question is no, it's not too late. People after COVID thought, oh, everybody's going to go back into the shops, but you still see so many retail shops closing down because there's just not enough foot traffic, but it is what it is. On to the next question. And that is quite an exciting one. And I think I kind of know the answer to it, but I'm asking anyway. Future plans, how are you looking to expand?
So it was, I'll be honest with you, Ben, like before we spoke on Monday, the idea was like, I was going to be growing in such a scale where I would have to get my own warehouse. Yeah. And I could potentially actually have that warehouse and have part of it as a little prep center for people, maybe like for people that I was working on Discord, and then grow it like that. And then eventually after 5-6 years, take the money to property. Okay. So I will be taking the money to property, but by allowing myself to actually try that private labeling, and we had the conversation, is it's like, well, there's no reason for me now to be outsourcing so much. Yes, I could have a warehouse in order to make sure that I've got my stock there on time, and then I can send it to Amazon. Say, let's say, for example, yes, there is a possibility too, but I no longer need the outgoings of getting a big van to be going with the retail arbitrage and spending half my day going out. And there's not a necessity for me to have the warehouse straight away. Yeah. And the big one is I could now do everything from my laptop, really. I'm not really needed. So the future plans are, I'm going to try to do, because at the moment in time, I would say is 10% wholesale, 70% I would say is online, and 20% is retail. I want to actually go to a 50-50 split. I want to go 50% being private label for this. So that is the plan. And then, and again, it's the conversation we had on Monday, is like, your return on investment from actually working on private label isn't that bigger from actually getting the house and trying to sell it on. Yeah. So it is a weird one. There's just like, obviously there's still the old fashioned kind of thing in my head thinking, put the money in properties, that's where it's safe, that's where it's safe. But like, I just think it's very, very important, and I'm happy that I'm actually trying something different with the business and trying to grow the business. Like, houses will always be there. Yeah. Yes, the price might change. Okay, the price might change. So we can clearly saw the price has changed massively. And but I think the next big thing is like trying to convert my business to being at least, if not more, at least 50% being private label. I think that's all I want to be doing with the business. Yeah. And just like we spoke earlier, I think as you grow, you need to start thinking about not just how much money you'll be making and where you're going, but things such as flexibility, like you said yourself, but being flexible and being at home. If all of a sudden you have yourself a prep center, believe it or not, you will be there quite a lot of the time. Also is where the kind of diversification, because at the end of the day, if we move, for example, just into private label and retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, we are still under the umbrella of Amazon. Moving outside of it at some point will be important, because you know better than I do, Amazon can cut off your account pretty much at any point, regardless of what you're doing, private label, retail arbitrage and stuff. So there's a lot of things to consider, but what's important here to know is that you're willing to take the risk, number one, and number two is that you have the options, you have the know-how, you now have got good knowledge of
like you have a skill of arbitrage, right? You're now going to develop a skill of private label. And then who knows, maybe you're going to start selling your own toys on a website and Shopify and become, go on TikTok, which I keep telling you to do. And all of these things, right? So keep your mind open, in my personal
But that's
opinion.
the thing, is just like, and initially I was thinking the dream, I keep talking to my mind, it's like, oh, how nice would it be to have a toy store and actually selling from a toy store, but you've got to be there.
Yeah,
you've got to be 9 to 5. You've got to be there 9 to 5. You know what I mean? So you're not a business owner anymore. You're actually a worker. Yep. So I think this is where I've got to actually be thinking, like, do you want to be working or do you want to be a business owner? Okay. And what's more important for you, time or money? Okay. Let's say it's just different questions. And this is why you should be surrounding yourself with people that actually doing similar thing with you and having these conversations. And like, obviously it was the previous question too, and just like, just to add, you don't put how much you make each month, how many sales you do to boast. Okay, you don't do that. And I'm exactly the same coming from me. I do it because to prove that it can actually be done. There's no, when I put my numbers, how much I've actually sold, I've not done it in order to actually get, oh, by the way, guys, be jealous of me, be jealous of me. That's not, I am not doing it that. And I'm doing it because I want to know that it can happen. And if you're jealous of somebody else's numbers, you already lost the game, in my opinion. You should be actually thinking, well done, he's actually doing it, I can also do it for us.
Nobody's ever going to be jealous if they're making as much or more than you. It's always the people that want to do it, but they can't actually end up doing it. So, but yeah, that's a topic for another video. Last question. And given the fact, well, it's still, I think, pretty good question to ask, because I've been selling now for 4.5 years. I have forgotten what it's like to be a beginner. Yes, I feel through it with my students and stuff like that, but you started a little bit later than me. Any sort of advice as to, what would you do if you had to start again as a beginner? Would there be something different? Would you choose a different business model? Anything you would change?
So, I mean, it's hard after watching your videos, I'll be honest with you, because like, just to let people know, 2 weeks ago I had COVID, and all I've done is basically watch Ben's videos and just working through it, because literally my brain wasn't working to do anything else physically. I love the way I've done my business because I know it inside out. Okay, I know it inside out. I know how Amazon works. I know what the ACN labels is and whatever that is. Even now it sounds stupid, but people don't know what an ACN label is to begin with. I know everything inside out about my business. I think the big one is I would still, even though it sounds silly, I would still try to do retail arbitrage to begin with, for people. I mean, but then again, I think,
doesn't it depend
the question says, okay, your business model. Okay, so could you be doing retail arbitrage all the time as a business model, starting a business solely? I think the answer is not. You can't scale it to a crazy amount. Okay, with private label, I think I'd have actually had potentially a bigger growth on it. And by the way, guys, I've not sold any private label product. Okay, just so people actually know, I've not sold any private. It's like not yet, and not yet. But this is what we're actually working for. We're doing all the product research now, all the hard work really, with that in order to get to it. It's a hard question. I would say I would still recommend to people to do RA, but like, I think what resonated with me, you said, it's like so many people go to private label, but not so many people go to private label back to RA and online arbitrage.
Nobody.
So I don't know, maybe, you know how I say, maybe 50-50. Maybe I start doing private label. I'm like, why the heck am I bothering with actually going to supermarkets? So it just, I guess I've not tried it. I guess I've not tried it. Not tried it completely. For it, it's very, very accessible. I would say retail arbitrage is very accessible because it is very, very easy to begin with because you're controlling everything. You're not speaking to any suppliers. But I think if you go your way, you've actually got a business in your hand and not just a side hustle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And just on the retail arbitrage, just for people, because I know some people, especially those that start off with low budget and they don't want to pay somebody £1,000, £2,000 on across China that they've never spoken, they've never seen before. Retail arbitrage to them seems a lot more safe, a lot more user friendly, a lot more small beginner type of thing. Any advice on the retail arbitrage? arbitrage? Because I see a lot of, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, I see a lot of videos of people just going into your local Tesco's and Sainsbury's and Asda, and all of a sudden I'm making a profit. Is that realistic, given what you said about wholesale? Is this realistic, or do we need to, you know, think outside the box a little bit?
It is realistic. You can actually work into, you can actually get, and for me, my profit margins with retail arbitrage are bigger than online arbitrage, but then my time consuming for retail arbitrage is higher. I would say, for any advice for people that are actually worrying, because a lot of people do worry, it's like with Amazon actually going to hit them with an authenticity guarantee, or IP. So first of all, they would need a scanning app to actually check for intellectual property. And what is a really, really good habit for anyone beginning on Amazon is, when they actually buy something, to take a picture of the items with the receipt next to it. Okay, so that proves that you've actually bought the item from that store, and that is an authentic item. And like, obviously I love TK Maxx, okay, but the problem with TK Maxx is that he actually never mentions the name of the item. It just says toy, so you cannot actually use that for authenticity guarantee. But the reason as to why I keep buying from him is because I've been able to buy the same product for, say, for example, a retailer, and I've got the invoices, so I could use that to fight my claim. And there's a lot of people that are actually scared to do it. And well, you've got to try it. At some point, you've got to actually try. Not everyone's going to be holding your hand for everything. At some point, you have to actually try.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's pretty much it. Any last words? Obviously, shout out your YouTube channel once again. Please, guys, do follow him as well. Anything else you got to say?
I just want to say to everyone that's actually starting doing this, do the right thing and actually open a separate bank account to have it separately. Okay. I know it's boring. I know it's very, very boring, but I've got a lot of people that I actually speak to, and it's like, oh, I bought some toys and I also bought some milk and some bread at the same time. So just keep it different, guys. Okay, just decide what you want to do. It's very easy, okay, to actually open a different business account. So keep everything separately, and just try it because it works. Try it because it works. That's the big one.
I mean, what's the worst case scenario? You may lose a couple of quid if it doesn't work out, but at least you know you've tried and gave it a go. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll leave a link down below. We may do a part 2. Who knows? Once you have started private label, see how you're getting on. It would actually be very, very interesting to do so, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you so much.
Cheers, thanks for having me on, man.